Now, what are the key notable differences? There are one, prolific generation of patents and prototypes in the European setup. They highly regard patents, and their education system is mostly evidence or scientific based. Whereas ours, in ours, there's very low generation of patents and prototypes. The rating of patents is quite low. We don't value much of patents. This is why if you've got 80% of the lecturers or professors in any institution, you discover that probably 1% of them has got any patents to talk about in terms of advancing their education. So these are the people who should impact positively on the learner, so that the learner can be able to also produce something for purposes of developing industry. And that's where we are. And these decisions are largely political. And the impact is basically what I have here at the bottom, where you see there's an increase in the number of universities in a region where they create strong economic growth. So in our case, we even if we have that increased number of universities, they don't add up because the very design that they have does not add up any value at all to the general economic objectives of the country. Then it has also been noted that there is an effect which is 2 times larger if the size of higher education system is considered in setting up any economic design. But in our case, we don't. Therefore, our education system not really add much value to our economic development. The same applies when it comes to the quality of research activity that we undertake. They are designed to feed into the GDP, whereas in our own case, it's isolated, fragmented. No one really focuses on what kind of skills are being produced, what kind of education system are we aiming at, and what kind of industry and the value chains that we want to design. And therefore, there's always little attention to STEM subjects. Now, globally, it is also important for people to focus on the risk factors, the risk profiles of our countries as we look at them, to say what risks do countries have and what are the trends in terms of those risks, and then what kind of citizen are we going to produce to be able to address those risks. You will notice that at the moment we have a high cost of living as a crisis. Natural disasters are part of us. Geo-economic confrontation is also taking place at global level and locally. A failure to mitigate climate change and so on and so forth. All these are the problems that are there. The question is, are you getting prepared to resolve them? As we move over 10 or so years to go, these are getting compounded. They become more complex. Is your mindset prepared to be able to handle such complex problems? The answer from my end is that Africa is not preparing its citizens, future citizens, to deal with complex problems of the future. You talk about cybersecurity issues. How are you going to handle cybersecurity going into the future?